Hi guys, I'm Roger. I'm 23 years old and I made the mistake of trying to play Matchmaker with my friends. And in the end, I almost lost my girlfriend over the whole debacle. It's kind of a wild story that involves a college graduation party trip, an angry girlfriend, and a grizzly bear that wanted to eat my face for dinner. But quick, bet you can't find the hidden wisdom? Go ahead, like and subscribe to get more wild stories. Okay, so let me introduce all of us. There's me, Roger, my girlfriend, Cassandra, her best friend, Nora, who happened to be dating my buddy, Sean, plus Cassandra's friend, Kyle, who was dating my oldest friend, Daisy. We had all just graduated, and we're excited to have our whole lives ahead of us. And I was a little nervous about my future. All I really knew was that I wanted to marry Cassandra, so this trip was going to have some extra plans. We rented a camper and set out for the ultimate camping adventure that was going to lead us to this beautiful waterfall that I visited once when I was a kid. There, on the waterfall, when there was to be a full moon, I was going to propose to Cassandra in front of all our friends. She told me one time that her love for me was as bright as the moon, as pure as a waterfall, and as warm as a pack of friends. So I decided that's what I wanted to echo to her when I proposed. So I got a modest ring that I could afford and hid it in my lucky windbreaker. If I had planned the trip out just right, we'd be at the waterfall the night of the full moon. And we'd have our best friends around us. But one thing was bugging me. Kyle just wasn't right for Daisy. In fact, I started to think that maybe he had a thing for Nora. Daisy was a sweetheart, but I thought Kyle needed a girl with grit. And Daisy, she needed a real gentleman, like Sean. I talked to Cassandra about it, but she told me that I couldn't make decisions for everyone. She was right, but I was only trying to help. That's why I got into psychology to begin with, to help. It was keeping me up, so one night I went for a midnight walk. I was standing in the shadows, and I could hear Kyle's voice. He was sneaking over to Nora's tent, and I thought maybe he was up to something. But then I got to thinking that Kyle and Nora made a better couple than Kyle and Daisy. And Daisy and Sean made a better couple too. I focused on personality types in school, and the way I matched our friends was much better. We were having a few drinks by the campfire, and I guess my tongue got a little loose, and I said they were all wrong for each other. At first, everybody was laughing, but then I noticed that Nora got real quiet, like she was thinking, you know? The next day, she asked me if I was kidding. I tried to blow it off, but she asked me if I thought Kyle would be interested in her. Well, I just let it slip out that I caught him checking her out. Cassandra said I ought to be ashamed of myself for gossiping, but I wasn't gossiping. I tried to explain that I was looking out for everybody. Apparently what I said was really starting to shake people up, and Sean was upset. I told him not to worry about it, but he said to quit sticking my nose into everybody's relationship. He didn't want anything to do with Daisy, no matter what I said. But Sean didn't realize how loud he was or how close Daisy was standing, because she heard him and started getting all emotional. When I talked to Daisy, she said she thought maybe I was right and was starting to second-guess herself. She asked me if I'd seen anything suspicious from Kyle. I had to admit that I saw him sneaking around from tent to tent. I felt awful for Daisy, but she deserved the truth. She said she wished she could go home. And when I tried to talk to her, she asked me to leave her alone. I tried to talk to Cassandra, but she was upset too. In fact, everybody was ticked at me. Here I was, trying to help, and it only ended up hurting me. I decided I would enjoy nature for its beauty without them, and I set off one sunset for a nighttime expedition. I didn't understand why everybody was mad at me for all this stuff. I wasn't the one sneaking around. I wasn't Kyle. I wandered and wandered, thinking about the whole mess at a million different angles, and I was starting to get tired. Yeah, but the wind was cold, so I hunkered down by this tree trunk. That was the worst idea, because there was a grizzly cub up in the tree, and he started cooing or growling or something. I could see the mama over by the embankment, and she was running fast. Everything inside me jolted with adrenaline, and I started running with all my might. Luckily, there was a river, and even though it was raging, I had no choice, and I leapt into it. I guess that satisfied the old mama bear because she didn't jump in after me. But the river was freezing, and it was pulling me south, and fast. But a tree had fallen in the water, and I used it to walk across to the other side. I collapsed in the mud, and I was catching my breath. I started to think about Daisy and Sean and why some people just didn't work. The more I thought about it, my friends should have been thanking me. They should have been looking up to me. I was the one who had the psych degree, and I was the one who was about to get engaged. And that's when I realized my windbreaker was gone, and the engagement ring with it. I closed my mind and tried to mentally retrace my steps. And that's when I remembered it getting snagged on a branch when I was running from the cub. It was stuck on the cub's tree. I'd completely forgot about the ring. In fact, I had completely forgotten about my relationship and why I was there to begin with. No wonder Cassandra was mad at me. There was no way I could go back without that ring. The full moon was tonight, and the waterfall was about half a day's drive. So I still had time if I moved quickly. I swam back across the river, snuck back through the forest, and hiked back to the tree. I saw my windbreaker flapping on the branch. And then I saw the cub and mama asleep in the tree above it. If there was anything worth fighting for, it was love. So I moved as quietly as possible up to the windbreaker. I didn't want to wake the bears, so I had to be ninja smooth. I grabbed the jacket and ran as fast as I could. I had the ring. But when I returned to camp, Cassandra didn't want to talk to me. I had one more gauntlet to get through, and that was my apology. I talked to everyone else, to Sean and Nora, and to Kyle and Daisy. I told them that I was making their relationship about me and my opinions. Turns out that Kyle was asking people about bug spray, and that's why he was out at night. I encouraged them all to forget about what I said and to follow their hearts. I learned that I had to treat my friends like friends, not case studies. Everybody accepted my apology and helped talk Cassandra into meeting me. They brought her to the waterfall at midnight, and I took Cassandra's hand in front of everybody. I said that my love was as bright as the moon, as pure as the waterfall, and as warm as a pack of friends. Cassandra made me the happiest man when she married me, and I'll never forget that trip. I learned that there's only two people in a relationship, and we all have to follow our hearts, because that's our true compass. Sometimes you gotta know when to mind your own business, because when you play with matches, or play Matchmaker, you can get burned. Have you ever been swept up in other people's business? Tell us about it in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more hidden wisdom stories. Remember, When you share our stories, you're sharing wisdom.